Wow, what a performance from Newcastle United. Newcastle have just beaten Arsenal 4-0 on aggregate, and this was no fluke. Over both legs, Newcastle United done a job on Arsenal. Eddie Howe tactically outsmarted Mikel Arteta, and Newcastle head to Wembley, their second final in 3 years. Yes, we fell short the first time, but I fancy this Newcastle United against anybody. So let's get into it, because Newcastle was simply superb last night. From the tactics to the execution, it was all on point, and Eddie Howe deserves huge credit. All I've heard from the media this morning is how poor Arsenal were, how much of it was a drop-off since their Man City performance. I don't buy that. Newcastle made Arsenal poor. Newcastle won that game rather than Arsenal losing that game. So I want to hear the media talk about how good, clinical, positive, energetic Newcastle were and how smart Eddie Howe was with his tactics. They bullied Arsenal. We did to Arsenal what Arsenal did to Manchester City. Give them little to no respect, and every man to a T was excellent. From the crowd, like I mentioned, that atmosphere in St. James's Park just hits different. There's no stadium in the Premier League like St. James's Park. There's no stadium in the UK like St. James's Park when the atmosphere is like that. It's just a 12-man. It ups everybody's performance an extra 10-20%. And I genuinely believe that. So from the crowd to the staff, to the players, everyone was exceptional last night, winning individual battles, working hard for the team, leaving no stone unturned. When the team was announced, a lot of people were scared that we would start with 5 at the back, but this wasn't a normal 5 at the back. Eddie Howe did not set up in a low block looking just to park the bus and defend. This was different. This was a tactical masterclass, and I've given Eddie Howe criticism for not being tactically aware, or his in-game management at times has been poor, but he done a number on Arsenal tonight. The final third man-to-man pressing, marking space in his own defensive third, but having that third centre-back pressing into midfield, creating overloads into midfield, whilst not allowing ourselves to be vulnerable in transitions, was absolutely perfect. The 3 centre-backs, whoever pressed into midfield, whether that be Dan Burn we've seen in the first half, we've seen Fabian Schär do in the second half, it allowed the next 2 centre-backs to mark Kai Havertz out the game, and Arsenal just couldn't be threatening in transition moments because we constantly had those 2 centre-backs covering space, marking men, and it was a tactical masterpiece. And then thanks to Murphy and Hall that were covering space in midfield, that allowed Gordon to play higher up the pitch, support Alexander Isak, chasing loose balls, attacking space, and it caused chaos to Arsenal's defence. And it's all good creating a game plan. We can all do that, right? But you've got to be able to execute it. And those players on that pitch fought for every ball. They were energetic, the intensity, the pressing system, and the bravery to commit bodies forward in transition moments absolutely flustered Arsenal. They couldn't cope with our intensity, and Gordon and Isak caused Saliba and Gabriel all sorts of problems. They will be having nightmares about Gordon, Isak, Murphy, because they were ran ragged. Saliba didn't know whether to mark space, come in short, or drop off 5. He just didn't know what to do. He was misjudging the flight of the ball. He was just so flustered. He just couldn't cope with Newcastle United. And to beat Arsenal 4-0 over 2 legs, and Arsenal not even to score a goal, just shows that this was no fluke. This was Newcastle United being absolutely brilliant. But it wasn't just a brilliant performance in possession. I loved our mentality. We look like mentality monsters. I fancy this Newcastle team against everyone, even Liverpool in the final. I would actually back our team if we've got a full, healthy starting 11. The infrastructure that Eddie Howe and his staff have built and the culture they've built is incredible. The energy and the belief that's been installed in this side causes teams real problems. And I do believe one of the differences in these games, because I think we defended well in both games, but going forward, that is the difference. Isak and Gordon is what Arsenal fans wish Kai Havertz and Martinelli were. I don't care what anyone says, our front line is far superior than theirs, and that was the difference over the 2 legs. We took with chances, but we caused absolute chaos, and it looked like Newcastle just wanted it more, the aggression out of possession, the fight out of possession, but we had that clinical edge and the cutting edge in possession as well. Trippier looked like prime Trippier. It looked like Trippier had rolled back the years 2 years ago. Now, what I loved about Trippier, he was leaving a bit after a challenge. I love this in football. Arsenal did it at Man City on the weekend. We did it at Arsenal today. When you just leave a bit off the ball, just let them know that they're in a game. I don't mind that in sport. I think sport needs it. And I credited Arsenal when they did it at City on the weekend. but full credit to Newcastle because they showed Arsenal zero respect. Every player played their part. They were all excellent. Everybody won their individual battles, and Arsenal looked flustered, lost, and that was because of our shape out of possession, our structure. It was all on point. It was organised, and everybody was positionally aware. Don't get us wrong, Arsenal had their chances. Odegaard should have scored in reality, but over the two legs, we thoroughly deserved this win, caused chaos on the counter-attack, and that's something Arsenal lack. They haven't got those moments players where you can just create something out of nothing, and we've got that with our Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon. And the shift everybody put in was excellent. I always say one of the biggest aspects in football is movement. You can be technically good, but if you're not moving off the ball, you won't break down any structure. And Newcastle United were excellent yesterday. Gordon was running into the channels. Isak was coming short and then spinning in behind, and it was just causing them all sorts of problems. Like I mentioned earlier, Saliba, Gabriel looked shot to pieces, and the tactics implemented from Eddie Howe was brilliant. It was obvious they'd done homework because everybody knew Arsenal were going to try a high press, squeeze Newcastle United, and try and play most of the game in Newcastle's half. But the willingness and the bravery to allow Anthony Gordon to support Isak and play higher up the pitch was excellent. We exploited the space behind Arsenal time and time again, and I think the tone was set with Alexander Isak's opening offside goal. We knew that set a blueprint on how to beat Arsenal, and we just did pretty much that throughout the 90 minutes. And Arsenal just didn't know how to tactically change a game to impact it in their favour, and that's a huge credit to Eddie Howe. Then if we talk about some individual players, I thought I could sit here and speak about the whole 11 because I thought everybody was excellent on the night, but I want to talk about Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali because I really don't think they get the credit they deserve in the whole wide spectacle of the media. They've easily been up there with Gravenberch and Caicedo for the best midfielders this season. They've been along on par with them in my opinion. Extremely professional and disciplined performance. If any of you watched my preview, I said this performance would have to be a disciplined one. That's exactly what we're seeing from Newcastle United. Disciplined out of possession, but expansive in possession. And it was just excellent to watch. What they did was they were pressing on Arsenal's first touch, not allowing Arsenal to find that killer ball. They were winning the duels, they were tackling, intercepting, they were anticipating the game and breaking down Arsenal's attacks. They were working hard off the ball, they were supporting each other, triggering a press, always looking to play forward when they won the ball though, and that's what I like because it allowed us to punish Arsenal and exploit their high line in transition moments. They were excellent today, absolutely excellent, especially out of possession, and that's what you want in games like this. When you're 2-0 up, you just need to, sometimes you win the game just off sheer hard work. You own your own luck in football. I truly believe that, and today Newcastle United earned that bit of luck that they got. The thing is, I haven't spoke about Arsenal as much, but I don't want to speak about them because of how excellent Newcastle were. I don't want to make this about Arsenal and what they did wrong. I want to talk about what Arsenal did, what Newcastle did brilliantly, and that was just shutting down Arsenal. We played to their weaknesses, and that's what you need to do to win a game of football. Arsenal, the willingness to play out the back was quite admirable, but our press, the trigger in our presses was all excellent. Now, it's all good setting up a plan, but you've got to make the right decisions. Lewis Hall was coming inside and creating overloads at the right time. He was providing width at the right time. Murphy was tracking back at the right time. And we were pressing at the right time. When Rhea had the ball, for Fabian Shaw to win that ball so high up the pitch just showed exactly everything. Well, it showed everything good about Newcastle United. And I think it all started from this guy right here. This guy is the best striker in the world right now. I don't care what anyone says. He's got everything, and we're seeing it on display last night. He made Saliba look silly. I've never seen Saliba be so poor in a game. He made him look like he was playing against a League One centre-back. His movement, his touch, his intelligent awareness just caused Saliba all sorts of problems. He was battling with Gabriel, but winning those battles. And his offside goal was quite ridiculous. Every time the ball arrives at Isak in the final third, you think something's going to happen. He's scorer of all types of goals. He can score a long-range goal if he has to. He can score tap-ins. He can score headers like we're seeing against Arsenal. And he's so cool, composed in one-on-one situations. He's got deceptive strength. He's got rapid pace, and he's technically excellent. And it's quite frightening that he's so well-rounded. Just everything about his game last night was exceptional. He was holding up the ball. He was being strong. He was moving off the ball. Just if you ask any centre-back what they fear the most, and it's somebody with pace that'll run in behind. And that's exactly what Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak was doing last night. And speaking of Anthony Gordon, I thought he was exceptional as well. I thought it was an outstanding performance. You're always making something out of nothing, and that's what you want from your winger. He's everything Martinelli doesn't do. He's got, well, his movement's getting far better. The timing of his runs, the willingness to run in behind, he was pressing out off the ball. His ability to drive and beat his man is exactly what Martinelli doesn't do. Receiving the ball at his feet, and the first thought he has is, how can I beat me man? How can I create for my team? He's got that fearless nature to always want to beat his man, whether it's receiving the ball at feet and he's driving towards his opponent, or receiving the ball in motion once he's got behind his opponent. He's dynamic, he's direct, he's fearless, and he's got that quality to make a moment. He's constantly a transition threat, and he's a final third threat. And I'm a strong believer, like I mentioned earlier, you earn your own luck in football, and he earned his goal out with sheer quality and determination. But what I find is massively improved with Anthony Gordon is his movement off the ball, his decision making on when to run in behind, or when to come in short, or when to do a double movement. His movement off the ball is getting more similar to Alexander Isak. I always say Alexander Isak is unbelievable in possession. His technical quality, his ball striking is unbelievable, but it's his ability to create space, and Anthony Gordon is starting to do that. If you watch last night, he did this on the weekend as well. He comes in short, knowing he's not going to get the ball. That's just simply to draw his defender out alongside him, to create space in behind, and he spins and he's in behind. That is everything we needed and wanted last night from Anthony Gordon, and he supplied it. And that's how we're constantly looking dangerous on the counter-attack. Just little deceptive movements from like that. Move the opposition out of their position, and then you exploit that space. And that's what he's getting more threatening at and better at, and he's starting to become really frightening. Every man was exceptional last night, from the manager's tactics to the player's execution, and I think we were far superior. I know Arsenal had vast majority of possession, but it's what you do when you receive possession. We were far more decisive, efficient when we received the ball, and I think last night showed exactly what Arsenal are missing: a striker. They've got a great opportunity to really go places now, and if they don't get it right in the transfer market, they can start falling behind. But I think Newcastle are on an upward trajectory. Why would Alexander Isak want to leave now? If we win this trophy and finish in the top 5, there's no chance Alexander Isak would want to leave. Why would you want to leave a place where you're playing European football, you're playing Champions League football, you've just won a trophy, and it plays to your strengths? We're getting the best out of Alexander Isak, and he's getting the best out of other players. It's an excellent balance. So there's no reason why he would want to leave St. James's Park, especially when he knows every single man and his dog in that crowd loves him. I just can't get over how good Newcastle United were last night. But I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on that game and how excited you are for Wembley. I can't wait. But until next time, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button. Until next time, away the lads.